Well, I know. Oh, hello! And welcome to a compilation of 5 videos we published recently, each showing you various ways of recreating in LEGO and at minifig scale the famous alien egg, Facehugger, Xenomorph, and Chestburster. Thanks to this compilation, you can watch it all in one go without having to hunt around for the next episode. Enjoy.
We're on an express elevator to hell, going down!
It's game over, man. Game over!
I say we take off and nuke the entire site from orbit. Is the only way to be sure. Aliens.
One of the scariest sci-fi franchises out there.
And I thought we'd celebrate the imminent release of Alien Romulus by recreating these iconic monsters in LEGO. Don't be ridiculous. LEGO will never create an official set based on those movies. But LEGO's all about creativity, right? So why not create some ourselves? And that's exactly my plan, Mouse. Over the course of the next 3 weeks, I'll show you how to build your very own alien trinity. The eggs, the facehugger, and the famous Xenomorph. Right. Well, I am off to make the ship acid-proof. A wise precaution, Commander. Okay, let's start with the egg. It just so happens that there's a LEGO piece designed to represent eggs, and they're even available in tan, which is a color close enough to the original alien eggs. So, there you go. Order a bunch of those, and job done. Hold on. Come on, Captain. That's probably the laziest video you've ever made. Surely there's got to be more to it than that. You're right. The Overmorph eggs from those movies is a special looking one. Plus, it's much bigger than even those LEGO egg pieces. The most iconic part of it, though, is that there are 4 flaps at the top that open up like a flower, leading an intrigued creature to look inside. And if I'm going to make such an egg, that feature has got to be an integral part of it, all while keeping it at minifig scale, or thereabouts. You've also got to keep the curved look of the thing, somehow. Not an easy task when you're dealing with LEGO at that scale. And I'm also having to work with available colors for specific parts. In the digital sphere, you can pretty much do whatever you want in that regard, but when it comes to real-world builds, color can grind your creativity to a halt.
And did you succeed?
For the most part. I had to make some compromises, but I did create something I'm pretty happy with. Now, in order for you to build your own, the part numbers for each piece will be displayed as we build it.
So you can order the parts you need straight from bricklink.com.
So what are we waiting for? Let's go already! First, I had to think of the scale. The smallest possible build I could do would be based on a 1x1 brick, and one such brick with studs on all sides would be ideal. It's then just a simple matter to add a 1x1 plate with a tooth on one end in tan on each side of that brick. Isn't that color a bit too light for the egg, though? You're right. Dark tan would be more accurate, but that piece doesn't come in that color, so you work with what you have. Anyway, we can then add a trans plate at the center, and we're pretty much done. Although, something's missing from that build.
A pan to fry up one of those eggs?
No, Gigi. A way for those top flaps to open and close. But for that, you have to go bigger. 4 times bigger, in fact, using 4 1x1 bricks with a stud on 2 sides as the base. A round 2x2 plate on top of those bricks helps keep them secure, and a purple one on top of that is there to start the organic gooiness of the egg's internals. That's further represented by 4 different trans-colored 1x1 round plates, so you can choose whichever color you like for those. And then we've got to do the external structure. Now there's a great 2x2 curved slope piece available in dark tan, which will do nicely. And attached to that, a 1x2 plate with a bar on the side in the same color.
Why do you need those?
For the cool play feature. LEGO have a claw bar piece, which regretfully doesn't come in dark tan, so I had to settle for a dark bluish grey for those.
That's the compromise you were talking about?
It is, as well as the color for the 1x1 pieces for the base at the start, but you can hardly see those, so it doesn't really matter. We now have to find a piece for those flaps. It turns out a triangular piece with a clip on its underside, which LEGO usually use for printed road signs, did come in dark tan a couple of years ago in a Harry Potter set, and is ideal for our needs. That was a nice build animation there, boyo. But does your construct actually work in real life?
You mean like this? It's sturdy enough for you to open and close the flaps without the whole thing falling apart, if that's what you meant. Considering the limitations due to the scale I was working with, I think this Overmorph egg looks pretty good, and I'm really pleased how easily the flaps open up, which was a major factor in this project. And best of all, it's still small enough for a minifig to easily peer inside.
Poor astronaut. They have no idea what's about to happen to them.
Are we going to see what's about to happen to them?
Still working on making your creation minifig scale?
That's the plan.
Sounds like a heck of a challenge considering how small those creatures are next to someone's face.
Well, I'm always up for a challenge. Okay, so let's get straight into it. So the Facehugger is a large spider-like creature with 8 legs, 2 of which face forward and the other 6 are on the side of the body. It has 2 large sacs near the back and a long tail. I had to think a lot about this one, but I came up with the idea of using modified 1x2 plates with bars on the side in tan, placing them upside down with the studs on the ground. So we start with 2 of these plates, one beside the other. Why upside down though? Well, you've heard of stud on the side construction, right? Of course. Well, this one's like that, except the studs are on the underside. So it's like building in reverse? In a way, I guess. But that means the top looks weird. It won't look like that for long, trust me. We then add an extra one of those plates across the 2 to secure them. For the front one, I thought I'd use a different type of plate with bar, one with connections on the edges rather than closer to the middle. Now this allows me to put 3 legs on each side, using the mechanical arms from Star Wars battle droids, and that special plate at the front lets me easily put 2 arms there. Guess it's lucky there are 2 different types of such plates. It sure is, GG. Now those sacs on either side of the Facehugger are represented by 2 2x2 round plates with rounded bottoms. Now I see why you needed to build this upside down. Those rounded bottoms become rounded tops. And the tail is a simple bar holder with a clip which attaches round the back, and a dinosaur tail end section finishes it off nicely. Now, considering the limitations that we have to work with, I think this ended up looking pretty good, don't you? What is it, McCluck?
Well, how do I put this? You're still working at minifig scale, right?
Of course.
And have you tried putting your creation next to a minifig perchance?
Well,
allow me. See? The real Facehugger hugs the face, right? Whereas yours is more of a
body hugger. Alright, I'll grant you it's not the best scale-wise, but that's really the best I could achieve considering the size of the available parts I used.
You sure about that?
Well, if you've got a better idea.
Actually, I do. How about using the crab piece?
Yeah, but that's just a crab. It doesn't even come in the right color.
McCluck's got a point, Captain. It is small enough to fit on the face, and it did come in tan only once in the Ninjago City set from 2017.
Only once out of a massive set? That's a problem, as it's not going to be cheap on the secondary market. But even if we could grab the one from our own copy of that set, just using a crab is hardly creative.
Okay, well, how about removing the tail from your body hugger and clipping it onto the crab at the back? There's a handle there just for that purpose, and voila! An easy mock, yes, not that easy to find, granted, but at least it's more to scale. And it even works coming out of the egg you created. Win-win, I say!
Okay, well, let's ask our viewers. Which version do you prefer? The more accurate but too big one? Or the simpler but more scale-consistent one? Whichever one is best, the results are pretty dire for any unfortunate minifig that gets too close to one of them. That it is, and it's actually...
Maybe you could open up the creation process to other crew members, eh? How about that?
Huh, that's an interesting idea, McCluck. Want to have a go at next week's Xenomorph?
Don't mind if I do. And I? Can I have a go too?
Why not? The more the merrier. So the final stage of the alien's life cycle is the horrific and deadly Xenomorph. As you'd expect, all parts of it are in black, and it's all made up of common pieces, making it easier to source than the tan crab for the Facehugger suggested by McCluck.
You're still hung up about that? Come on, Captain. As chief engineer, it's my duty to come up with new ideas.
Nah, it's fine. I'm certainly over it. Anyway, this time we've done something a little different. Mouse, McCluck and I have come up with different versions of the creature, starting with the same premise and expanding upon that. Okay, ready?
Let's do this.
You do the honors, Mouse.
Cool, thank you, Captain. Well, I'm going to start with this T-shaped piece. It's been super useful when the Captain created his robots, and I thought I'd use it here as the linchpin for my Xenomorph. So far, so good. A 1x1 circular hollow plate is used to make it possible to attach other bricks to it, like the famous headlamp piece, whose recessed hole will be perfect to connect the Xenomorph tail to. But first, let's keep building the body with 2 1x1 bricks with studs on either side.
Well, that's gonna make him pretty tall.
But there's a gaping square hole at the front. What's that for? Oh, nothing. That needs to be plugged with something like a regular old 1x1 round plate. What? Like some kind of belly button? Yes, why not? Now, these creatures have spike-like appendages coming out of their bodies, which is why I got these bricks with studs on either side for the torso. Just get 4 round plates with a bar and attach them to each one of them. For the arms, I thought I'd start with those old robot arms which have been in production since 1985 and attach a bar holder with a handle to them and a mechanical claw piece to make the hands. Now, we need a few more of those pieces as they're essential to the tail's creation. Stick a mechanical claw piece inside the headlamp's hole.
That's not something you hear every day.
Then connect a bar holder with handle to it and repeat the process 3 more times. To finish off the tail, you need a claw piece. Why does it say you need 3 of those, though? You'll find out soon enough. Let's go back to that T-shaped piece and attach 2 bar holders with clips to it on either side. Then you attach a mechanical claw piece to each of them, a bar holder with handle to that, and finally, those remaining claw pieces for the feet.
Interesting.
Now we move on to the head. We'll start by attaching the second 1x1 plate to the top of the torso, then a 1x4 plate on top of that, followed by a 1x1 plate under it, and 2 inverted 2x1 curved slopes, one at the back and one at the front. At the front, there's a space to put a special 1x1 plate with clip to represent the Xenomorph's secondary jaw. Then we fill in the head with a 1x3 plate and another 1x1 plate, and to finish it all off, we put a 2x1 curved slope brick at the front and a 1x1 tile at the very top and a 4x1 curved slope brick at the back. And there you have it, a Xenomorph.
Something wrong, McCluck?
Well, don't you think 3 1x1 bricks on top of each other for the torso makes a creature that's a little too tall?
Well, these monsters can be pretty tall.
And what about the belly button?
We should call that version Belly Button.
Okay, I agree that's a bit of an issue, but how could you connect the tail otherwise? A plate with clip would do better, I think.
Okay, what changes would you make, McCluck?
So, I would also start with a T-piece followed by a hollow 1x1 round piece on top of it. It's a great start for this type of design. So far, so good. But instead of a headlight brick, I'd use the modified plate with the horizontal clip. I'd keep the rest of the body the same, with those 1x1 bricks with studs on 2 sides, the round plate with the bar for the dorsal spike, the round plate at the top for the neck articulation, the robot arms, bar holders with handle, and the mechanical claws for the hands. All that remains the same.
So right now, all you've changed is the headlamp piece.
I've gotten rid of the belly button. To me, that's already a big deal. What's wrong with belly buttons? Nothing. I just think they look silly on the Xenomorph, that's all. Now, the tail can simply click into place with a bar holder with handle, and yes, it's pretty much the same as yours, all the way down to the tailpiece, which I only need 1 of. 1? What about the feet? I'll get to that, but first I'd like to make the head 1 stud shorter. The principle is the same as yours. I start with a 1x3 plate instead of a 1x4 one, followed by a 1x1 plate on the underside, as before, and 1 inverted curve piece at the back. Only 1? What about the one for the front? I don't need that in my version. Mine just has a closed mouth represented by a 1x1 plate. To be frank, I didn't like your protruding jaw idea. The rest is the same, with a 1x2 curved brick at the front and a large 1x4 curved brick at the back. Don't you think the small head makes the Xenomorph look a little younger, though?
And what about the legs?
I'm getting to that. I start by attaching a mechanical claw to the T-piece, followed by a bar holder with clip and a round 1x1 plate with a handle at the back, and repeat the process for the other leg.
Come on, he looks like he's wearing shoes with those.
That cements the younger feel. Give him a backpack and he's ready to go to school. Think we should call him Junior. Well, I disagree. The claws for feet are fine, I guess, but you can really only balance the whole model thanks to the tail. Mine can literally stand on his own 2 feet.
The shorter head, body, and legs really do make him look like an adolescent. Junior it is, Mouse. Thanks for your input, McCluck.
You think you can do better?
I have a few ideas. I'll start the same as you two with the T-piece and the hollow 1x1 round plate on top of it.
Wow, 4 of those? Is that right?
Yes, it is. I've a few alterations up my sleeve. Now, I really like the idea to connect the tail to the body, McCluck, but I think we can do better.
Oh, really?
Come on, I know LEGO are blocky by design, but we should try and use round pieces wherever we can. And for that connection, we most certainly can. The same piece you use for your feet, in fact. A round 1x1 piece with a handle at the back.
Only one of those, though. What are you going to use for the feet?
All in good time. Now, the first connection for the tail would be a bar holder with clip connected to a mechanical claw piece. And we go all the way down, alternating between mechanical claw piece and bar holder with handles, finishing off with a claw piece.
Oh, so no real change then.
Actually, I thought the tail looks a little bare like that. Why not slot in a hollow 1x1 round plate to the mechanical pieces? I think it gives the tail a more bony look, don't you?
It's cool how a tiny change can make such a big difference.
Now the body is the same, with those two 1x1 bricks with 2 stars on the side, connected to the round plates with bar, the robot arms for the shoulders, hooked up to the bar holders with handle, and the mechanical claws for the hands. It's all the same, but when it comes to the head, I didn't like the shorter head McCluck came up with.
Everyone's a critic.
Instead, I thought I'd go longer, even longer than yours, Mouse. The process will again be pretty much the same, starting with the 1x1 round plate for the neck, connected to a 1x3 plate, attached to a 1x2 plate underneath, with another at the back to extend the length of the head. I put a 1x4 plate on top to secure the lot, and a final 1x2 plate on top of that. I thought I'd keep Mouse's idea of the inverted 1x2 pieces at the back and the one at the front for the jaw. The curved 1x4 brick is used at the back as always.
Hard to see how you could improve upon that.
Indeed. But for the mouth, I thought I'd take a different route. Instead of Mouse's extra jaw or McCluck's no jaw at all, why not have a transparent 1x1 round plate like it's baring its teeth? And the 1x2 curved brick on top of that, and a 1x2 tile to finish off the look. And that part's done.
I have to admit, I quite like the mouth of this one.
It is pretty good, I agree, and menacing too. Thanks, guys. Now, to finish it off, let's look at the legs. Mechanical claws hook up to the hip, followed by bar holders with handles, which are connected to bar holders with clips, and to finish them off, Wolverine's claws in black for the feet.
Wow, that's certainly different.
It's a great finish, Captain. Think we'll call that version claws. But can the creature stand on those claws? Feet? Like yours, with the help of the tail. Absolutely.
Just shows how varied LEGO can be, and how small changes can make big differences.
So we have 3 Xenomorphs at minifig scale. Would you choose Belly Button, Junior, Claw, or maybe mix and match their features to create a new version? Or have you already come up with a better idea for your very own concept?
We'd love to hear what it is.
So that's it? We've gone through the whole Xenomorph life cycle? That's it, Gigi. We've showcased various types of eggs, a couple of facehuggers.
Well, 1 facehugger and a body hugger.
And 3 different Xenomorphs.
And just in time for the latest movie in the franchise. It better be a good one.
So, what are your thoughts on what we've created over the last few weeks? Let us know in the comments. What are you doing, Gigi?
Just cooking some eggs.
And where did you get those eggs?
Oh, a little planet called LV426.
You know, in our rush to create the various stages of the Xenomorph's life cycle before the release of Alien Romulus, we forgot a crucial one.
The Chestburster?
The Chestburster.
This video's gonna get messy.
I've got a feeling this is going to be a facehugger situation.
You mean because Lego pieces are so big, we're going to need to upscale the whole thing to make it work?
You got it.
Don't be so pessimistic, McCluck. Although, you're right, it's going to get a tad bigger than it should be, but at the same time, I think it's going to work out just fine. So, you ready?
Ready.
Actually...
Okay, just so you know, this is going to be a small mock, and I'm only going to need a handful of pieces. I'm starting the process with a simple 1x1 round plate with a hole in the middle in tan.
Just like the facehugger's color.
They only turn black once they've matured. After that round plate, I'll be adding the most interesting piece in the process, this bar with an angled stud. Why is it medium nougat and not tan? Because it doesn't come in tan, GG, so we have to make do with the colors available to us. Fair enough.
This piece was introduced in 2020 as part of the DC Superheroes collectible minifigures.
That's right. It was transparent back then, and it was designed to give the minifigs more action poses.
Correct. It's been used for loads of other purposes since, which thankfully made it available in a few other colors. Next, we did a 1x1 round plate in clear.
That's to represent its grating teeth.
And to finish it off, a 1x2 curved piece to represent the rest of the head.
It seems off balance to me. How's this thing not going to fall down when you put it on someone's chest?
As long as you're careful, it should be okay, but I've got a solution for that as well. We could always use a neck bracket piece. These come in a handful of colors, and so long as you can find a torso that matches it, you should be fine. I thought white would do nicely for our needs.
Okay, I know that piece is no longer being produced, but LEGO used to make a similar neck bracket, and this one came in red. Might this not be a better option?
It could, but that part in that color ain't cheap, Mouse, as it was only ever seen in 8 sets, the last one being released in 2015.
Shame. Don't worry. There are other ways to make it gory.
So, that's it?
That's it, Gigi. One Chestburster, made to order.
And yes, it's a bit too big, but it doesn't look ridiculously too big like your Facehugger was.
Glad you had the idea to use the crab piece for that one. Your version is much better scale-wise.
Thank you.
Now, thanks to the central curved piece, the creature can look down, sideways, or even upwards, so this model does offer us a few display possibilities.
And we can have fun recreating the infamous dinner scene in our station's galley if we like, by adding a little bit of blood everywhere. That's pretty gruesome, McCluck. Told you there were other ways.
No guesses for who's going to have to clean that up.
So after last week's video, we had a couple of viewers who suggested different ideas on how to create a Chestburster. Morostodom, for instance, went in a completely different direction with their concept, starting with one of those Star Wars droid arms.
Which is available in tan.
The entire droid army was tan in color, GG, so that made it an obvious choice. Plus, these arms are cheap and quite easy to find on the secondary market.
They then attached to that arm a round plate with a handle.
That one's a relatively new piece, and it's only been made in tan this year.
Yep, in 2 sets. The Hogwarts Castle Owlry and Jaws.
Which should make that one slightly trickier to source as it's so new.
And the model is finished off with a tail, thanks to a standard claw piece.
That one's been available in tan since 2021, and is present in 14 sets. Shouldn't be hard to find. Okay, now, don't get me wrong, I love it, even though it's a pretty radical departure from your own design, but doesn't it look a little too thin and long?
It could be a version of a Chestburster once it had left its host's body.
I actually think the design would work better as a fully grown Goa'uld, if you ask me. Oh yeah, change its color to black, and it's got the making of a parasitic system lord.
In any case, it's a different style, which shows just how versatile LEGO can be when recreating pretty much any shape.
What's the other design suggestion?
It's actually a modification of my own design rather than something completely new, and it was proposed by Oliver Goetz.
Oh, I like him. He comes up with clever twists thanks to his large knowledge of LEGO parts.
That's right. We first encountered him during our Stargate project, when he helped us source 4 hard-to-find dual-molded backpacks for the crew. After that, he suggested an extremely rare 4x4 round plate which made our DHD design possible, and introduced to us to a special 1x1 plate with a handle on either side, which was just the perfect central piece to recreate the replicators.
You could say he's been instrumental in some intricate designs we showcased in the past.
And I think he's done it again here. You see, and I would agree with him, the head section as it currently is just too big and increases the Chestburster's dimensions beyond what they should be to keep it minifigure scaled. So he suggested removing the 1x2 curved piece and the 1x1 round transplate and replacing it with this.
Okay, I see what he's doing, and it looks incredibly simple and effective, but what is it?
It's the base of a traditional small antenna piece. The mouth, so to speak, is usually used to position the antenna along an axis.
Hang on. Is Oliver suggesting breaking an existing piece to make it work?
Well, they usually come with the antenna already fitted,
but it's actually easier to remove it than it is to remove minifigure hands from arms. And that's acceptable to you? I've swapped hands many times, McCluck, as well as the odd arm or two in my day, so what's an antenna? They do say the first time you do it is the hardest. So yeah, you just hold onto the base tightly and pull the antenna off. You can then easily put it back, but of course, as with the hands and arms, the more you do so, the weaker the connection gets, so it's best not to do it with the same piece too often. That antenna base has only come in tan a couple of times, and you may have more luck sourcing the full antenna unit rather than the base on its own over on Bricklink. The one with both the base and the antenna in tan only appeared in a single set.
Or you could find one with a black antenna, which appeared only once 24 years ago.
So it's rare, but it's findable. And we actually have some of those in our inventory, as they're part of our Marmoset robots.
I'm sure one of them can spare its antenna.
Just how often do they need to communicate with headquarters anyway, right? Scale-wise, it makes your Chestburster so much better. Absolutely, although I kept thinking about Moros the Dom's design, which made me realize I should try to find a way to add a tail to my own Chestburster. That's a bit of a tall order for something that small. Well, we can't copy what they did, that's for sure. We'd need something that somehow attaches to the side of a 1x1 round plate.
I'm not sure such a thing exists, Captain.
I don't think so either, but let's check the inventory, shall we? Let's remove that 1x1 round plate with a hole in the middle, and how about replacing it with this piece? We've used it many times before in other MOGs, and crucially, it's available in tan. Well, yeah, okay, but that tail just looks too rigid. I know what you mean. Okay, how about this part, which I feel would actually be just perfect for this concept?
Oh, that's brilliant! I love how it curves around the shoulder like that. Let's use that one for sure!
Except there's a pretty big fly in this ointment. That part was only released this year, and is so new, it only comes in white or black. The best laid plans of mice and men. Hey, mice had nothing to do with this. So yeah, we can showcase it digitally, but until LEGO deign to release that part in tan, we'll have to make do with a tailless Chestburster for now. I think the new mouthpiece improved on your design immensely regardless. So, what are your thoughts on these alternative designs? Let us know in the comments, and we'll speak to you again next time.